Follow me.
You need to see something special. All the world is made of stories, and all of those stories are right here in the Book of Life.
Hello everybody, what the flick? William Bibbiani here. Alonso Duralde is back again, yes. And we are going to be reviewing animated fantasy, The Book of Life. Alonso, take us in.
Yes, okay, so it is November 2nd, El Día de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, and the spirits Xibalba, voiced by Ron Perlman, who rules over the land of the forgotten, where dead people who don't have family members who build shrines to them wind up going, and the sexy La Muerte, who runs the land of the remembered, have a bet about 3 young people, and to see which one the young girl will choose to marry, and then if Xibalba wins, he gets to swap realms with La Muerte. Things get complicated. They grow up to be interesting people. The young girl is spunky and smart and independent, and one of the boys is a bullfighter who wants to play guitar, and the other one is a decorated soldier, and it's complicated. But
it's really
cool.
complicated.
I know, there's a lot of plot here, but it's gorgeous. Take a look.
But the greatest story begins on the Day of the Dead. A day when spirits pass between worlds and anything can happen.
Ah, look there. 2 best friends.
Oh, in love with the same girl.
You two are acting like fools.
Wait, me too?
You picked yourself a feisty one.
How about a little wager? I bet that Maria will marry Joaquin.
Very well.
By the ancient rules, the wager is set.
Manolo, it's so beautiful.
I will lose the wager. Fix this for me, old friend.
I may not be the town hero, Maria, but I swear, with all my heart, I will never stop loving you.
Snake! Manolo!
Where am I?
Welcome to the land of the remembered.
Don't try to take it all in at once.
And the story goes on.
This is incredible.
Epic fiestas every day.
All you can eat churros.
My lady! Please help me reunite with the love of my life.
If you complete these tasks,
You will see Maria again.
Hey, girl.
Get that a lot?
The Book of Life.
Yeah, I like this movie.
I did.
I liked it a lot,
I was
yeah.
really surprised because I didn't. I don't know. The trailers aren't selling it right. Maybe.
Well, the opening discouraged me. It opens in this very didactic arch way of like these group of little kids
Right.
who are like at the detention class,
Yeah.
and they're going to a museum, and the woman at the museum teaches them Mexican culture, and that's the framing device for our story. And those were such boring, lame kids. I was like, oh no, this is gonna suck.
Well,
it's gonna be like the magic ghoul bus. Like, what is this?
and why? Also,
Yeah.
why is like this movie about Mexican culture being filtered through this education lesson to like
Well, because it's being marketed to people who don't necessarily know the culture.
As it turns out, though, we get past that part.
Well, that goes on very, very quickly, and then we have this very charming, very imaginative, very. At first, the art style didn't really grab me, but then once we actually saw the world of the dead, it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so it feels like it's specifically there for contrast, where like the real world, which is all made up of toys anyway, but that's a little dry, looks a little bit like a Western, and then it just explodes into color and vibrant life. It's so great.
I mean, the thing is, Day of the Dead loans itself to a real sort of visual extravaganza, and they take full advantage of this. Jorge Gutierrez, who directed, is best known for TV stuff. I think he worked on Mucha Lucha and El Tigre, and then you've got Guillermo del Toro, who came on as producer. So yeah, I mean, you've got these sort of different levels of world. You got like the kids in the museum, and then the museum lady brings out these sort of wooden dolls that represent the characters in the film we're seeing. So they're all sort of these articulated marionette types. So it's kind of CG faking stop motion, and then you've got the underground around and all the stuff going on there with these wild parades and stuff. And then I found the characters really interesting. I mean, I remember thinking recently. The girl in Box Trolls I found just kind of like one note spunky, and I didn't find her all that interesting. Whereas Maria in this movie I thought really was kind of independent in a cool way, and she has these two guys who she's sort of torn between, but in no way is defined by.
They do a good job of because the whole plot is about who she's going to marry,
right?
Which is a little sort of reductive and sexist to begin with, but she doesn't treat it that way.
No.
She has dialogue about how she doesn't want to be a kept woman, which might be a little wow, that's a really progressive for the time period this is set in.
Sure.
But fine, whatever. I'd rather you try too hard to make someone a positive female role model than not try nearly hard enough.
Right.
Like there are a couple of points in the movie where there's just one thing and they mention it once. It's like, oh yeah, and I also know Kung Fu. All right, we get it. You're a Mary Sue. We get it. That's cute. But that's fine. That's harmless. There's I guess my only issue with the movie is that there's a pervasive theme about solving your problems through sympathy and understanding your past and moving forward in a more progressive and helpful way, not resorting to murder all the time. But it's still, there still has to be the
Kids
big fight at the end.
Yeah, that bugged me too.
That was a bit much.
There is the sort of inevitable big Act 3 fight, and I thought
it felt shoved into Rio 2 and it feels shoved in here.
I thought you were smarter than this movie.
Yeah.
But even in that sense, a lot of it I think is done in a more clever way than other films might have done it. So points for that.
Can we talk about the way that this movie completely embraces Mexican culture, uses it to tell a new story that we haven't really seen before, but only uses songs from the pop radio station on Spotify?
Well, and that
was weird.
There's this weird mix of sort of, and I think the kind of cheesy pop song reference joke is going to wear out pretty quickly.
I've been done with it for a year.
No,
it's funny because you're playing Alanis Morissette's ironic. Yeah, it's funny for about a second.
Yeah,
and then it's done.
They do it a lot in Tammy. I think movies are eventually going to get tired of it too.
Mm-hmm.
They pull it a few times here. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Mm-hmm. And then the new songs are kind of forgettable,
really
unfortunately,
generic,
which is a bummer because they're written by Gustavo Santaolalla, who did the score, who's one of my favorite composers working right now. The score is great, but the actual songs are kind of
they're not painful though. It's not you're not sitting there going, "Oh Jesus, when is this ever going to end?"
Yeah, they're not dreadful, but
they don't stick in your head.
I couldn't hum one for you now to save my life. But the voice cast is great.
Quite good, very charming.
Diego Luna, Zoe Saldana, Channing Tatum, Hector Elizondo,
Kate Del Castillo,
Ron Perlman. So I was very pleasantly surprised. I think this is. If you're the kind of person that digs out The Nightmare Before Christmas every Halloween / Christmas, this might be a movie to dig out every Day of the Dead.
I think so too. And one thing I like, and I just feel like I respect any kids movie that doesn't go for the same theme. And although this one does use something we see a lot, which is you don't have to be what your parents want you to be, it's also about death.
Yes.
This is a kids movie about death.
There aren't enough
dying.
kids movies about death.
Well, yeah, there's nothing to show
this
a kid.
And Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium.
But no, here's characters who die in the movie. I'm sorry, it's about the Day of the Dead. People die, and it's in the trailer, I think, even. And yet it's not. It's kind of scary, and there's a consequence to it. If no one remembers you, you're stuck in a limbo, and that place apparently really sucks. But it's very demystifying, and it's very. It just shows you that it illustrates visually the oft-told concept that just because you remember someone, they're not dead.
Right, and I think also really kind of underscores the importance of there's a lot. You get a lot of movies with a sort of generic family, this or that, but this is really about your ancestors and the people who came before you and what they did so that you could be here now. And you don't get that. That's a novel thing for a kid's movie. It's novel,
and the very concept of this movie gives them a very nice framework to embrace it and use it to tell more story as opposed to just having it be a speech you say. There's a little Orpheus and Eurydice going on. There's a lot of cool ideas here, and most of them I think work. Yeah, mostly. I don't think it's perfect. I think it's a little clumsy and naive at times, but again, that's not a huge problem, especially for a movie that aimed at a younger demographic, who I think are just going to latch onto how distinctive and unlikely and fun and pretty this movie
frankly,
is.
give me clumsy and naive over sort of calculated and market tested and focus grouped and cynical. Because
aside from maybe the soundtrack, this movie doesn't feel like it's trying to sell me something. There's never just like even though like we're in Mexico in like the 1900 or whenever it is, there's never anyone eating Pizza Hut, which is something that like Freebirds would have done.
Freebirds.
Freebirds, which claims that Chuck E. Cheese delivers. I checked. They do not. That's how bad it was in Freebird.
Nor did Chuck E. Cheese get served at the first Thanksgiving. That movie's full of lies. All right, numbers, sir.
What did I give this? I give it a 7.8. That's pretty good for me for this kind of material.
Okay.
Maybe if it had been a little tidied up more in the story and department, I would have given it higher. But I like it a lot. That's a good recommendation.
Yeah, I give it an 8.8. It gave me a great deal of pleasure. And it is at 68 on the tomato meter, which frankly should be higher, but what are you going to do? Do you think people should see it?
Absolutely. Go see it.